Fawaz Shaukat Ali.
And a wonderful morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And it's a middling sort of day today, but it's hopefully going to be a wonderful week. And to start proceedings on a Monday on a live program is Mr. Shamindra Ferdinando, the news editor of the Island newspaper. Very good morning to you, Shamindra Ferdinando.
Morning to you, fellas.
We're very appreciative that you make it here on time. We really are.
Yeah, thanks to a road built by
the road built by Rajapaksa. Yeah. Right. Okay. This is your mantra. It's a mantra. It's like that other mantra. We won the war. Right.
Certainly.
Anyway, they didn't win the war. They just won a battle. Now then, 70 years of parliamentary democracy is looming. They're going to have a debate, a special session of Parliament tomorrow. How's democracy doing in your esteemed view?
You know, the celebrations tomorrow should be examined against the backdrop of this agreement between Sri Lanka and USA, where they have signed an agreement worth 1.92 billion rupees worth for us to receive advice and instructions from a private US firm called, I cannot remember the name, it's DAI.
Why are they giving
Development Alternatives.
Is this kind of a bribe?
It's not a bribe.
Is it a sweetener?
But for us, we must see that we are celebrating 70 years of parliamentary democracy, and we are receiving instructions and advice from a private US firm in respect of accountability, good governance. Why? There's something wrong with the system, no? I mean, if you see the allegations made against members of parliament, both sides, and they have been accused of robbery, fraud, corruption, then corruption charges against them, then they have sold their vehicles. And you know, so what is the point in celebrating 70 years of democracy when the members of the parliament are under fire, under investigation for various illegal activities?
Correct. I quite agree with you. At yesterday's press conference, this press conference,
it was given by Dr. Jayampati Vikramaratne.
Now then, did you ask him anything to do with, because a little birdie told me this, did you ask him what steps they're taking to stop members of parliament from robbing this country?
Yeah, we raised that issue because now they're talking about a new constitution. I think people want the parliament to take tangible measures to prevent members from robbing the national economy. Because if you go through reports issued by COPE and PAC, you can see members had been accused of serious, serious allegations against them over bribery and corruption. And so I think there should be some constitutional mechanism to prevent members of parliament, especially those in power, from doing illegal things.
Now, I want to ask you this, and you know, because
now as an example, the agriculture ministry has reached an agreement with a private party where they have agreed to pay over $1 billion, almost $1 billion over a 5-year period, to rent a building.
Which is now still not being occupied? Or do you know if it's been started to be?
No, they're not using it. They're not using it. So
what does the young Daminda say about this? What does he say?
I think he has no control over that transaction for us.
Why? Because who did it?
I think it was a decision taken by the government, by the UNP, and Daminda has no say. He has to follow orders. And
you mean the beneficial owner of the building is a UNP supporter? Is that what you mean?
He's the husband of actress Sabita Pereira.
Okay.
So I think there are a number of other allegations.
Is there something fundamentally wrong in that whole transaction?
Not only that,
apart from the colossal waste of money.
If you examine transactions over a period of time, say over the past 10 years, the previous government carried out a lot of illegal transactions. I'm telling you. Because
but you say that, Shamindra, you say that, and I am scouring your paper, especially The Island, and all the other papers, and very rarely do I come across any kind of finality. There has been some finality in the Lalit Veeratunga Kalpita, that's already business. But apart from that, there are these claims, and we all know, but this business about we all know doesn't stand up in a court of law. So my problem is that in spite of all these claims, there's no, I don't know why it's not coming into court. Is there a deal or is there no evidence?
For us, I don't know about a deal between the previous leader and this government, but the civil society organizations, those who had backed President Maithripala Sirisena at the last election, both in January and August 2015, they say that there's a deal between the government and the former president. Now, they say.
Yeah, they say. Now, look, let's let's discuss something that is far more worrying. Because money, you lose it, you can make it, you can do another, they can do another deal. Leave that aside for a minute. What is of more worrying? What is more worrying is this new constitution, or these various amendments and maneuvers they're making, and it becomes extremely worrying when you consider that the person in the driving seat of all these new measures, and constitution-wise, is none other than dear Ranil, our dear Prime Minister. And the reason it becomes worrying is that if you look at what he's done with the constitution of the United National Party, then I am, in my skeptical mind and my layman's mind, I'm thinking, hang on, he's going to do another number, but this time with the country's constitution. He's finished with his party. What do you say about that?
No, see, you cannot blame one person for that. No, because we have 225 members in parliament.
Yes.
What is the role of the president?
Yeah.
Don't forget, for us, we agreed in Geneva to change our constitution. That's the truth, right? Whatever they say in Colombo.
But is that all because they wanted to get by some time?
No. See, for us, that due to the failure of the previous government to counter allegations against the Sri Lankan armed forces, they moved this Geneva resolution. And this government co-sponsored it, right? In June last year, head of the Human Rights Commission, Prince Hussain, he very clearly said that there should be a new constitution for Sri Lanka. He said there should be a referendum also, right?
I like all these things.
Don't blame the Prime Minister. The entire Parliament is responsible for this situation. It is all the members of the Parliament are using for a day's sittings. According to the Speaker, they spend 4.6 million rupees
per
day, right? So the Parliament meets for 8 days, right?
But what about this business?
But if you check the attendance, members do not come to Parliament. Now, a few days back, Minister Faisal Mustafa, he told Bandulu Jayasekara that less than 50 people actively participate in the proceedings. So something terribly wrong with the entire Parliament. Just don't hold one person responsible because all the political parties.
He's the Prime Minister.
He's the Prime Minister. What about the President then?
Yeah, but he doesn't come to Parliament every day, does he?
It's for us, it's the responsibility of the respective party leaders to ensure their members participate. Now,
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about...
I just want to tell you one thing. Last year, May, there was an important bill and there was a JP call for a vote, and there were only 62 members in Parliament. 62 out of 225 on 5th of May 2016. To see, some of them had gone to see a movie on the invitation of the Deputy Speaker. Right? So this is the situation. The members who are facing court cases, they say they cannot attend court because they had to go to parliament. So they use parliament as an excuse to skip court proceedings.
Yeah.
You take cases against various former members of parliament, present members of parliament.
Yeah.
The cases are heard only 2 or 3 days for a year. So the judiciary, the parliament, I think the entire system is responsible for this situation in this country. Just don't hold one person responsible.
Okay, now, but tell me, why are they trying to keep tweaking this constitution? Do you remember the 19th Amendment? Do you remember the Kottu version of it?
Yeah.
That's because Mr. Wickramasinghe was trying to smuggle various things in, hoping that the others wouldn't notice. But somebody, thank goodness, various people were being urged to be mindful and ever vigilant. And so it didn't happen. We got away. The people were saved. But now, for example, take a look at this so-called 20th Amendment. The Supreme Court, no less, said what they said, and that it would impinge on the people's rights, and therefore, if you wanted to do it, you needed to have a 2/3 majority in Parliament, and you must have a referendum of the people. That was just one question. There was one page in then you turn your attention to Parliament. One page was gazetted. That was just to do about having the election on one day. Yeah? It turns out it's 33 pages. What on earth was the Speaker doing? Why did he let them debate that? You can't have that.
So that's exactly what I was telling you. See,
so where is democracy? This is our theme today.
Exactly. So they are celebrating 70 years of parliamentary democracy, right? The joint opposition has accused the Speaker of, allowing the UMP to operate with impunity in Parliament.
Yeah.
Right? So the Speaker obviously has no option as a senior member of the UMP. He's obviously cooperating according to JO. This is what Honorable Dinesh Gurunathana told the media last week. So there's a huge problem for us because this government is obviously scared to face the electorate. Right? Obviously scared to.
But that is another thing. One of our viewers is a marvellous viewer because this viewer has pointed out. In front of all, he passed the local government bill with a different wording in singular. After all, many parliamentarians do not have even O-level qualifications.
Yeah.
But then there's another viewpoint here. By the way, I don't know the names of these people. I've only got numbers, all right? Unless you want to send in your name. But producer, why don't you put on the card? SMS over here, straight through here, 0772 300 305. And this question comes from, or this statement comes from somebody here. 6.2 million people, and on 3 previous presidential elections, Sri Lankans voted for a new constitution. Now, I don't know the figures, but well, I do. 6.2 million is less than half of the registered voters in this country. There's 15,400,000, right? So it's less than half. But do you think that we'll ever get a proper, robust constitution? Why change things when it doesn't?
For us,
this isn't broken.
For us, certain changes are required.
Yeah,
I admit. Now, they must bring in constitutional, measures to prevent members from crossing over.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody can contest on the UMP ticket and join the other side.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah.
They must immediately abolish the president's right to pardon people, convicted criminals. Now, the former president Rajapaksa released a UPFA minister's wife, convicted for murder. Right? Honorable Milroy Fernando's wife was released by former President Rajapaksa. Then former President Ranasinghe Premadasa released over 40 LTT cards because he had some deal, agreement with Mr. Prabhakaran, right? So over the years, people, our leaders, had abused constitution for their benefit.
Well, in that case, so did Ranil Wickremesinghe going and signing the ceasefire agreement. If you're comparing Mr. Premadasa, then I'm saying to you, what about Ranil Wickremesinghe? He went and signed off that
ceasefire agreement. Yes.
Yeah. So
he
signed. The LTT clearly used that time to rearm themselves. So they did. They had to have done. They weren't twiddling their thumbs. Mr. Prabhakaran wasn't that kind of chap, was he? To twiddle his thumbs and have a little swim.
So I think the former Prime Minister, at that time, Mr. Wickremesinghe made a genuine attempt to solve the issue, right? But he did not consult the Parliament or the President
so he acted
or the armed forces.
He acted like a dictator.
Yes, but
is he a dictator? Is he a dictator?
Who?
Ranil Wickremesinghe.
All our leaders are.
No, but is he a dictator?
All our leaders are, including Mr. Wickremesinghe. Yes, because all leaders do not consult their parties. You take the former president. He wanted the Chief Justice out. He did it. Except Mr. Gunasekar and Rajiva Vijayasinghe, Professor. All the others voted, including the then SLAP General Secretary Maithripala Sirisena. All voted.
Right.
All had no option. Right? So the CJ was sent home. So similarly, this government also, they delayed local government elections for over 2 years. They are trying to delay the PC polls. They are, they are abusing parliamentary powers, various things. So all these political parties in power, although to get power, they talk about accountability, good governance, and various other things. Once they get into office, they do whatever they want to know.
I don't want to really...
Right, this government, with all the economic problems faced by the country and the people, the honorable members, in addition to their salaries, they are now paid 100,000 rupees. They say to maintain offices. Where?
I want to take this. I want to take this opportunity to say this: that I think
they're the luckiest lot. These MPs.
Do you know what? I don't know about that. I'm not sure that they're lucky. Do you know why? I think that in comparison to entrepreneurs and the rest of the public, the non-politicians amongst the public, so minus the 225 and all the others, all these politicians, I think, are completely sick because they have a rather perverted sense of vision. Their vision is completely double, and they're completely myopic because when they're in opposition, they say one thing. When they are in power, they say completely another thing. When they're in the opposition, they promise to hang people at Gulf Face or whatever, some draconian, terrible measures. Awaits the people in government. And when they are in government, all these things are forgotten. But one thing, thanks to entrepreneurs and thanks to the vision of some people, anyway, the landscape is changing. Colombo's landscape is changing. Just behind us, we have a couple of big buildings coming up, and just beyond that, and then of course, if you can't help but notice the Lotus Tower, looking rather pretty. And do you think it's supposed to be for the media, isn't it? Do you think you all will have an office up there?
Who, me?
Well,
we can visit the place.
What about getting an office? Do you think you can persuade Mr. Burgum, your chairman, to take out some space there, rent some space out?
It will be a very expensive place for us.
Why?
They have spent millions, no?
Millions, probably. Well, at least they've spent it and it's there. It's not like what's happening. I hope these people who are who are trying to present the case against the Central Expressway realize that the Central Expressway is actually a complete fix. They are getting the company that they originally wanted to anyway. The people who forgot their bid bond, and they didn't even cancel the tender and recall the tender, which is absolutely dreadful news in a so-called 70-year-old democracy. And then they try and bring in little absurd considerations or claims that powerful media groups, thank you for acknowledging that we are a powerful media group, that we are against this. We're not. We oppose the complete breakdown of tender procedure, of national procurement guidelines, right from day one. So, Lakshman Kirialla, once again, we say to you...
He's a lawyer.
Yeah, and as a lawyer, Roshamindra, he would know automatically what ultra vires means. And there's no point him being some Totta Baba and trying to claim that, oh, these people are trying to block us, Irisiawa and all this rubbish. Complete tosh.
Maybe the president will have to appoint another commission.
Unfortunately, and thank goodness. See, this is why I keep saying to you that we need a president here, because finally, at least better late than never, in comes the Presidential Commission. And for all those who think that the media have collectively forgotten the bond, well, we haven't. They were they wanted some days off, the AG's department, to study all the files and the statements made by that former governor, Arjuna Mahendran, before they cross-examine him. And they're doing that this morning. So if you are minded to find out what happens to your tax rupees, whether they're working or not, go to Halstoff and follow the thing. Remember to take your national ID card. Produce it and you can go in there, and there are a number of seats and spaces available, and I think you'll find out that you're getting jolly good money, value for money, because Dapada Dilivera and Yasanta Kodagora and others are doing a grand job.
I think Farah, you should urge honourable members of the parliament and members of the provincial councils to go there.
Absolutely.
I think all political parties should study this case, this bond case.
I think that's democracy in action.
Yes. So, while we are celebrating 70 years of democracy, we have members of parliament accused of various corruption and irregularities and various other crimes.
Yeah.
And we had members of parliament, to say Karuna, he was accused of massacring over 400 policemen in June 1990. But the former government accommodated him in parliament through the nationalists.
And of course,
right? So see, in this country, this country for us, political parties, those who have power, they can
do absolutely anything.
Anything, right?
Some of these people are so close, and the nexus is so close, virtually watertight, that they can even change national policy. They can change the constitution, perhaps. They can change the rules and regulations to suit them.
In fact, I can tell you that, years ago, the former president Kumaranatunga, she offered North and East to Prabhakaran for a period of 10 years without elections, right? Because she somehow wanted to come to some sort of arrangement with the LTT, so she made that offer.
God, what a muddle-headed woman she was then, in that case. Well, but what I want to say to our viewers is, just in case you can't find your way, or you can't make it to Halstoff to see your tax rupees at work, there is a real credible alternative, and that is, you can tune in to Newsline tomorrow morning to find out. You can watch our news, Newsfirst News, starting at 7 o'clock in Sinhalese, 8 o'clock in Tamil and 9 o'clock in English, and you can follow all the proceedings. and our reporter from there will fill us in. And of course, tomorrow morning, no doubt, you can read the Island newspaper too, and all the others, because the media haven't forgotten, have they?
No.
Have they?
No.
But finally, let's look back at it. What is the state of democracy 70 years later? Is it something we ought to be proud about and say, yes?
For us, no local government polls, an attempt to put off PC polls, right? The major political parties cannot agree on this proposed constitution.
Right.
And the honorable members of parliament accused of various corruption, abductions, various things.
Yeah.
Right. And we have another political party, the Tamil National Alliance, right, which very openly worked for the LTT.
Yeah.
Until Prabhakaran was killed in May 2009. The only political party in this country for us to urge Tamil people not to exercise their franchise. Did the Elections Commission raise that issue with the TNA? Did the Parliament take it up? No. Right?
One of our viewers is saying, and thank you for sending these your questions by SMS. It's nice to participate and receive these. Somebody says to you and to me that after 70 years of so-called parliamentary democracy, it looks vulgar.
Certainly.
You agree?
When we celebrate 75 in 2020, that means they have received another duty-free car permit. Another.
So is this what parliamentary democracy is all about? Duty-free permits?
And
cheap meals.
Perks and privileges, free medicine.
Now I want to tell you something. This morning,
they talk very proudly of the Sri Lankan health system, but all the key ministers, powerful ministers, when they have health issue, they go to the president's fund, take money, and go to Singapore or some other country. So that's the truth. That's the truth. So. So
there is no such thing in this country, in this democracy, no such thing as sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. They've forgotten all that, haven't they?
So
now they'll be wondering, what's this fellow talking about sauce for? I mean, they haven't got O levels.
Can you remember what the Honourable Prime Minister said about the scam, bond scam, James Bond? In Parliament.
Yes, he said he put his hands like that behind his jacket, and he looked around and he said, does anybody know about bonds? As though he knew. He chose the most expensive method of issuing bonds, and I'm not saying that, nor are you. It's the Auditor General, God bless him, who said that. And he means it because he knows about money. He is the Auditor General, for heaven's sake. Now, Shamindra Ferdinando, finally, shall we leave people with some good news? Is there any good news? What is the good news?
There's nothing for us, actually. I must tell
you.
But
we want to leave with some good news. And I'll tell you what the good news is, because we must leave with some good news. Last evening, following the Sinhalese news on Sirasa TV, one of our Newsline viewers called us and said that they want to assist the young boy, the young child who was featured in one of the stories. And that is the good news. And the good news is that not just that story. The good news is that the public at large out there are all helping each other. They've forgotten about this parliamentary democracy because it doesn't work. People are just getting on with their lives. And it appears that that is the best way. The people's power. Each are helping each other. And, obviously somebody was moved by that reporting. And God's will.
Did you receive any calls from members of parliament or provincial councils?
No, of course not. Of course not. No calls from them. Why
President's Fund? President's Fund?
No, I don't. No, nothing like that. But at least the members of the public, they're helping each other.
So the ordinary people.
The ordinary people. So that's the good news.
If they have, if they offer 200,000 rupees to that boy, will organize a function and spend about $500,000, you know. There'll be a huge function.
The last and final question for our viewer is, Faraz, are you not enjoying comparing with the previous government, which period your life was in danger? Who said anything about that? On that note, Shamindra Ferdinando, thank you very much for being on Newsline. We do appreciate it. You can hear Shamindra Ferdinando in a few minutes' time on Talk of the Town on Yes FM. In the meantime, that's it from Newsline. Take care. God bless.